You're hearing thinkingiseverything.com.
Hey guys, this is thinkingiseverything.com, and I'm your gracious host, Queen Can, Goddess Caramel. So today we are continuing our conversation on how to be the center of attention. Now, the number one word I will continue to use to expound upon this topic, the number one word that is most important for you to hear is that being the center of attention, being the center of your universe, being the center of your universe, standing on one accord with yourself, standing in the grand stand position of being your authentic self. This is the most important position of power there is. This is where you create opportunities. So the number one word is profitability. Profit. It's profitable to take heed to the lessons I've been pouring out this week. And first we talked about going into a room and having this mysterious way about you that you're paying attention, you're all the way paying attention, but others perceive you as not. The thing about it is, you're not looking to put attention on yourself. You are looking to have others reflect interest in you. You don't want to take people by force. You don't want to take anything by force. You want to pull things onto you naturally. And this is how we do it. So again, we talked about going into what's called acting oblivious. Okay, that was the first thing we talked about. You can go back and listen to that short few minute clip about that. The next thing we talked about yesterday, step 2, it was around missing, allowing others to not have access to your energy all the time. It serves a few purposes. For one, it allows you to recharge. It allows you to reconnect to your source. It allows you to decompress. It allows you to relieve steam, relieve stress, mentally, spiritually, physically. When you separate yourself from being plugged in to everybody else, you are giving yourself an opportunity to go back to ground zero, to clear the field and build anew. So when we talk about allowing people to miss you, we really talked about just being in control of how much access people really have to you, your exposure. You don't want to be overexposed. Okay? So today, on how to be centered of attention, how to be the main attraction, how to bring people, places, and resources to you, we're going to talk about keeping your mind in the light. Now, we can go through a lot of different steps, and we can go through a lot of different words to get you to understand the one thing. But when we talk about light and how to stay in it, it's something so simple. However, you know the other side of that it is often the hardest thing, because there's always going to be something that tells you this is too easy, this is not working, and you've already turned away from the light. Staying in the light takes humility. Staying in the light takes consideration, and it takes a great deal of courage. Because not only do you have to stay in the light, but you have the responsibility of being the sole bearer of the light. You see, if you only stay in the light when the lights are on, what will you do when the lights go out? You have to bring the light. It's the only way to always have light, is to be responsible for the light that you bring. So when things look destined to fail, when things look bleak, when things seem difficult, impossible, I mean, it just looks like this is the direction it's heading in. This is the dark. This is the time where you can create a new space. This is the time where you can build yourself up instead of continuing the rhetoric of pulling yourself down just because of past, just because of something called memories, just because you are remembering that it's a difficult situation. So what you must do is turn everything that puts you into a state of defeat, turn everything that puts you into the space of loneliness, that lessens you, that diminishes you. You have to turn that around. Well, how do I do that? Well, you could believe in it until you know. And how does that look? So just because it doesn't look like my health is in the best condition, just because I've been given bad advice, or I've been given death sentences, or the job told me it's almost certain that if I'm late again, I'm going to get fired, or my relationship is totally doomed, or I'm not coming back from this mistake this time, or I'm still addicted to this drug. I mean, it's endless. But what I'm asking you to do while you're in that position, still press forward towards the mark. And the mark is always bringing light. So it may look like X, Y, and Z, but we don't need you to proclaim that. That's obvious. So I'm asking you to step into the light, to bring the light forward of what's not so obvious and what you can pull out of this situation that will bring you more light and get you a step closer to where you really wish to be. So I've said all of that to say that before you go into this room, before you go into this relationship, before you go into this interview, before you go into this business situation, before you complete your next transaction, before you close your eyes at night, that you consider yourself to be in the best position to capitalize on your next venture, your next journey, your next whatever. That you consider yourself done and completed with the task, as in past tense. That you know your worth and your value. That anyone who lays eyes upon you will see that worth and that value, because you hold that worth and that value within yourself. In any situation that presents itself in the adverse of that is a lie. And it's even more proof of how strong I am, because there's a constant barrage of energy trying to get me that I am to see the opposite of that. Why? What's so important to beat a person down to where they don't believe in themselves? Why so important to switch people around mentally and get them to think one way when it's actually the opposite? Why so important to keep reiterating lies that get you further away from the truth? So when you start paying attention to what happens to you in your life, you'll realize that maybe this is not to show me anything but the truth of who I am. And the truth of who I am is I can raise myself up out of any of these situations. And I'm still here doing that. So if I can do that and I can keep maneuvering around in these traps, then I can step outside the traps. And I can build a place of honor and respect for myself. I can speak to myself kindly and know that when I go into this room, I'm there to transform it. I didn't come here to just do normal things and be status quo. So of course, all eyes are going to be on me, because I have all eyes open. So when we talk about being the bearer of light and bringing the light, it's always the good news first within yourself, that you are powerful, that you are capable, that you're a conqueror, that you've done this before and you'll continue to do it because this is what you are here to prove. And the more walls you continue to construct around yourself, it's just more layers that you're going to have to fight through. So why not drop the layers, drop the act, and perform what you've been placed here to perform. But you need to do that in full confidence of yourself, because everything else will come to you. But you have to be standing in that grandstand. It needs to be all eyes on you. Before you get to that room, before you get to that relationship, before you go to that interview, before you go into this banker's office, before you do your next deal, before you go step to someone and try to apologize, before you do anything, you got a grandstand. So that has been my time today, guys. This is Queen King Can, okay? Caramel Goddess. ThinkingIsEverything.com. Log on to ThinkingIsEverything.com. In addition to the series we're doing right now, we are always open to doing your life optimization report. Your life optimization chart is the circle that you're going to get that's going to reveal your characteristics so you can rewrite your programming. Candis, what are you talking about? We are not fully expressing ourselves. We're not standing in our authenticity. Why? Because we don't know ourselves well enough. So what this report does, it gives you back to you. Okay? It's the bearer of light. Until you learn to be that bearer of light, you have to learn how to be a bearer of light. ThinkingIsEverything.com. Order your life optimization report today. Ciao for now.